So I wanted to do this video about a 4,700 mile road trip that I took in 2015, going from Cleveland to Los Angeles. I had been on the East Coast a little while before, so technically it was about 5,200 miles with about 480 miles between New York City and Cleveland. But I'm going to use this measure distance tool to show the route that I took back in late 2015. This was about a 17-day, 4,700 mile road trip. So using the measure distance tool, started in the Cleveland area, right about there. We would have taken 271 over to 71. Go through Medina, seat of Medina County. Came down here through Ashland. Basically take 71 all the way to Columbus. So I'm gonna jump with this measuring distance. It's not going to be exact. And I figured to go to Indianapolis because I had never been there before. This first section of the trip, I was basically just trying to make time. I got through to Indianapolis at about, I don't know, 6:30 p.m. It was in the middle of the week, so there wasn't really too much going on. So the real reason why I had started to take this route was because I wanted to take Route 36 through Missouri and visit visit Hannibal, the birthplace of Mark Twain, along with Springfield, Illinois. So, excuse me. It's nice to get on these two-lane highways where it's not really as stressful when you're on the road. I believe I had stayed somewhere around here, like Danville, Illinois. Came up through Decatur, went to Springfield, and I guess it's Route 72 that remains as 36, so you take 72 to Hannibal. So here's Hannibal right here, about 600 miles out, west bank of the Mississippi, birthplace of maybe the greatest American writer, Mark Twain, in my humble opinion. So I continued on 36. So one of the highlights of 36 is Marceline. This is the birthplace of Walt Disney. And then Hamilton is the birthplace of J.C. Penney. I believe he started his first department store there. Something I would have to look into. All right, from here I took Route 35 south, interstate, Kansas City. I'm a vegetarian now, was still eating meat at the time, had some pretty good baby back ribs. Came down through KC, stopped in Overland Park, got here to Route 35, and stayed in Emporia, Kansas. Nice little town. Remember, everything was super cheap. I got a big old ice cream cone for $2, and it was hunting season at the motel that I had stayed at. So I was there in my little Prius, surrounded by a bunch of trucks getting up at the crack of dawn for hunting season. So that was interesting. Got into this Flint Hills area, which is just beautiful here on Route 50 in Kansas. Beautiful, beautiful country. So the goal here was to get over to Dodge City. somewhere through here, there's a signage saying it's 1500 to, you know, east, 1500 west, maybe somewhere around the 1,000 mile mark. I'll have to look at that. Got into Dodge City. Great place to spend a couple days. I don't know about any longer than that, but it's a fun visit to see some of the Old West sites. Definitely would recommend it for any road trip stop. Was gonna follow the Santa Fe Trail on 56, but I hit so many uh, semis, carrying livestock coming the other way, and this is basically just one lane in each direction from what I remember. So I ended up turning around, going back to Dodge. So I went back to Dodge, came up here, started going through the high plains. I took this Route 400, past Cimarron, coming up here through the Colorado border. Somewhere through here is one of the easternmost Japanese internment camps, I believe. So you can pass that sad historical reality on the side of the road. All right, so now we're getting into Colorado where the landscape really starts to get interesting, and you're wondering, when are you going to see the Rockies and what they're going to look like? So once I hit Las Animas and La Junta, I still wanted to get into New Mexico and Taos. So instead of going to Pueblo and going further north, I decided to take the southern route through Colorado and took this Colorado State Route 10, going through some farm country, Walsenburg. I found this to be a really beautiful stretch of the ride. Came down here to Walsenburg and came over here to Fort Garland. Stayed for 2 nights in Fort Garland. Really small town, nice motel, kind of cabin on the side of the road. It's a good place to post up and get acclimated to the altitude. I feel like most people who do this trip would probably stay in Alamosa, but there's a bunch of off-grid type Airbnbs and stuff. I'm sure that would be quite nice. So from here, I went to the sand dunes, did a little bit of hiking. I remember it was about 20 degrees in the morning. Came back to, I believe I must have gone to Alamosa and then decided to get down into Taos. So you take 285 south to or past Alamosa, here to San Antonio. This is absolutely gorgeous when you're coming over on the plateau and you're just ascending, and especially that late fall, early winter time of the year, you're traveling south and the sun is just pummeling you in the face. Really spectacular. Um, Over here by Tres Piedras, this is where you'll find the Earthship colony, famous, world famous. Coming down here, crossing the Rio Grande Gorge and getting into Taos. I had some really bad elevation sickness when I was there. Beautiful place, went to the Pueblo, came back up, came through San Luis, interesting town, famous for its lack of water issues. Stayed in Fort Garland again, and then it was time to head west. So Mesa Verde was next on the stop from here. So went to Alamosa, back through Del Norte and South Fork, and then you're coming down through the San Juans, I believe. Beautiful, spectacular stretch of the road, like most mountain drives in Colorado. Came down through Pagosa Springs, saw Chimney Rock briefly. Feel like that everything's called Chimney Rock in the Southwest. There's a Chimney Rock in every state. Right. And got to Durango, stopped off there. Didn't take the narrow gauge up to Silverton, but got a couple Durango t-shirts. Mancos is this little agricultural town near Cortez, near Mesa Verde. Secondary place to stay. I ended up going to Cortez, staying there 2 days. Came down into the park, came back, did a little bit of hiking in the area, eventually came down through Four Corners, went to the Four Corners Monument. Next on the list was going to Moab. Came up into Utah, across the state line, into Bluff. Then you take 191, which leads into Moab. I first entered Moab, it was already nighttime, so I didn't appreciate the Flintstones, bedrock, just how spectacular it is to be there in the valley. So I came up 191, uh, came up 191, stayed in Moab. Then the next day I came back down, went to the Needles and Canyonlands, hiked there for the day, came back, stayed in Moab for the night. Next day I went up to Arches, hiked for the day in Arches, came back, spent a third night in Moab, went back to Arches. I think this was a day before Thanksgiving. Next on the list was Capitol Reef National Park near Torrey, Utah. So it's about 120 miles from Moab. Got back up to Interstate 70, which I'd driven before. Take 24 south through Hanksville. Stayed in Torrey for 2 nights. Spent Thanksgiving hiking at Capitol Reef. Went back to Torrey for the second night. Then this may have been the Piece de Resistance, Utah State Route 12. Maybe one of the most beautiful drives that I've ever been on in the USA, except for maybe PCH in Northern California. Took took State Route 12. You cross the summit and then you come down through this grand staircase. So you see the whole grand staircase off here to the side. Be to your west, on your right as you're traveling south. Stayed in Escalante or Escalante, as they say in Utah. Went to Bryce Canyon, also spectacular. It's a lot busier than the other national parks in Utah, except for Zion. So I went to Bryce and then got over to the Utah part of 89, which I had driven before, and came down to Kanab. I eventually stayed in Big Water. Now from here, came through down through Page, Horseshoe Bend, I guess is somewhere around here. The goal here was to spend a little bit of time in Hopi, talk to some people, bought a Kachina doll, and didn't go to Old Oribe, unfortunately. I don't think I would have been invited. Eventually coming down to Petrified Forest. So stayed in Winslow. And then maybe I stayed in Holbrook. Came up through Petrified Forest, hiked north side, hiked south side, came back, stayed in Holbrook again, then came over to Flagstaff, stayed here for 2 days, hiked Walnut Canyon, came back, came down to Sedona, hiked Sedona, came back up, stayed that second night in Flagstaff, stopped off in Williams where I'd stayed before when I went to the Grand Canyon, and then basically just took 40 coming back and hit coming coming through to Joshua Tree, past Kingman, which has got some great Route 66 old old diners, stuff like that. Came to Needles where Spike, Snoopy's brother, lives. Spike always made his home in Needles, California, for fans of the Peanut series. And eventually made it down to Joshua Tree. So I guess I actually came south this way, came through on 62 to 95. This is what I did. Came jot 29 Palms, went to Joshua Tree, stayed there for 2 days, hiked up through the park, then came back down, and then back to Los Angeles. So I guess this is actually a 3,700 mile trip. So instead of 4,700 miles, it was a 3,700 mile trip. But considering was coming from Cleveland and I probably didn't add a 100 or 200 miles that I did driving inside of parks and a couple other little side trips or times that I got I don't know, disoriented. But yeah, this is a great alternate route for anyone who's looking to explore the Southwest.